From what I understand with that marijuana thing, though, this is actually the third time this has happened where the U.S. government has said, no, there's nothing good with this shit. But it's good for us because now we can take it to the courts or whatever, the federal court, and go against everything they say. So, like, if they say, no, this doesn't help headaches, we can, like, put the proof up, like, no, it does. Here's 5,000 scientists. So this is actually a good thing that they did this.
It's very obvious that the system is rigged. The only reason why people would be going after marijuana in this day and age, we're wasting any resources on something that kills nobody, is they're getting paid to do it. It's really simple. You have to follow the money. There's no money.
Anytime you pass any kind of law, a cottage industry grows up around it.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is. There was an article, there was a big debate about ethanol today, and there's an ethanol lobby, and ethanol problem with ethanol, you got to grow a lot of corn, and it's not that efficient. It's not that economical. It's proven to be not. We got only 10 million cars on the road that actually are flex fuel compatible, which means basically 5% of the cars on the road right now in the United States, and yet you have a lobby, an ethanol lobby. You have 30 plants. Try getting rid of ethanol. Go ahead. Good luck.
The whole lobby thing, man, has always freaked me the fuck out, that that's legal and that no one ever says anything about it.
It's constitutional under this. The reason you have lobbyists, and you always have had lobbyists, is because in the Constitution you have the right to petition your government. The reason lobbying has become such a force, and the reason politicians essentially are beholden to the NRA and these kinds of people, is essentially because whenever you create, as the government becomes bigger and has more influence, which is what it's going to do as it grows, regardless of what side, right, left, it's not a right-left argument. If something like this gets bigger, you are going to have industry that is going to find a way to influence that power structure. How do you do it? You hire people who have contacts with the government. Either they work for the administration, whatever it might be. But that's what happens. So now you have a county like Potomac in Maryland, which is one of the richest. I think it's probably the third richest county in the world. Do you think they manufacture anything? No. You know what they are? They're all government lobbyists. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And when you try to go from Potomac to Washington, D.C., to the Capitol, you'll be in the car for about 2 hours, and it's about 20 miles away or whatever it is. It's a parking lot. Why? Because they're producing anything? Are they producing things you and I can use? Nah. You know what they're doing? It's a machine. It is a group of people from all different kinds of industries that live there 24/7 and do whatever they can to influence their congressman in their state. That's how it works, baby.
Wow.
And so when you start talking about government, understand, I've said this before, I always say it, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, government has two functions: to pass laws and to tax. Do you need laws and taxes? Absolutely. The question is always in political philosophy, how much do you need? Okay? And it seems to me that we're headed to a point where government's going to be 42% of GDP. I mean, government is taking over so much. So many people in this country are dependent on a government paycheck. That's not the American way.
No.
And I'll tell you something. It means you're a bureaucrat. It doesn't necessarily. Some people are doing good things. They're doing good things. But for the most part, a country grows when it produces things you and I need, whether it's intellectual ideas, physical products, and we export those things. And we need to stay the leader of innovation. Innovation and ideas is what it is. But when you have Potomac being that rich because they basically rely on the U.S. government, there's something fucking very wrong.
Very creepy that it just keeps going on and it never even gets mentioned.
Because it's very hard to stop.
To me, it's one of the two great things about politics that have always fascinated me. That's one, and two is cigarettes. The fact that no one ever brings up cigarettes. There's never a president that says we have to stop something that's killing literally almost 500,000 Americans.
You know what I love about that example you just used? In Health and Human Resources, there's a building in Washington where you can go down one floor and there is it's Health and Human Resources, or the Health Department, the Department of Health. And the Department of Health has a huge campaign to get people to stop smoking. And it's a good, noble program. You go up 3 flights from there, or whatever it is, but it's in the same building, and you have essentially the Department of Agriculture. You know what the Department of Agriculture does? It pays farmers to produce tobacco because it's called a subsidy. Interesting, isn't it? So you got one floor that's paying farmers to grow tobacco because they have a strong lobby. And then if you go down 3 floors, you've got the Department of Health, which is trying to get people to stop smoking. You find me one business in the world that behaves that way. But guess what? It's the U.S. government, baby. And that's how we work. And that's where your taxes go. Your taxes go to stopping people from smoking with big, big programs. And they go to getting farmers to grow more tobacco. That's what it's called. So it's called fucking madness.
It is
and
madness.
That's why if you don't educate yourself on how the government works and what the history of expansive government is, you're going to pay a price for it out of your pocketbook and with your freedom.
And doesn't it seem like as the economy corrodes and they start trying to add more and more government jobs, people don't want to resist this because it does provide some sort of a tangible boost in the economy. They've created 2 million jobs, but they don't tell you that these 2 million jobs are all census people.
Census takers.
Yeah, useless jobs.
Exactly.
Things that we don't need.
Exactly.
People, it's just...
Pay attention when you hear a politician talk. Pay attention to what they're really asking for. And it's a very, very interesting thing because and all of us would be guilty of this. With the nature of human beings, if you, in my opinion, you look at history, is to try to control other people. I try to do it. I try to do it with people I love. I try to help them. I'm trying to control them. I tell them how to eat.
Right.
I tell them it's my nature. I care about people. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try to get in there and I'm going to try to educate you according to my paradigm. Well, that's just my nature. I'll never be any different. The problem, the founding fathers knew that was part of human nature, and that's why they created checks and balances. That's why they created the nation. This nation was founded on the idea that you were self-reliant. If you're going to create alliances and stuff, they should be voluntary alliances, not government mandated alliances, etc. And we're headed to a point where people are trying to solve problems, and that means I'm gonna pass a government mandate. I'm gonna make you do this.
Do you know how the tobacco lobby thing works? Do you know how they pay the farmers? The farmers get paid for their tobacco, plus they get paid to grow it. Is that how it goes?
They get paid to look. Yes. Look.
It's just to make sure that
that's
there's
like every farm.
Let me give you another example. Do you think we need as much corn as we do? You think we need all that corn syrup? Do you think, in fact, why don't we grow sugar anymore? Because the corn lobby, I think it's Archer Daniel Midlands and etc. Have a very strong lobbying group. So they said, we want to grow corn. We have a lot of people that will be out of work if you don't subsidize our industry. You know how much money we give? We give alpaca farmers money every year. You ever worn anything with alpaca in it?
What's
no,
alpaca?
You haven't. I'm
Is
glad
that
you
an animal?
asked. Yeah, it's an animal. And what happened was during the Korean War, we decided to make uniforms out of alpaca, an alpaca blend, because they would be warmer because Korea is very fucking cold. But guess what? Those farmers, they're still getting paid to grow alpacas, to herd alpacas, and you pay for it. Now it might be 0.1% out of your paycheck, but that's what goes on with the government. That's what farming subsidies are about. Yeah. We pay people to produce butter. We have a lot of food.
What was that? What was that? Huh? You just went.
No, I said yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you have a farm, you get money. So.
Is it every crop? They subsidize every crop the way they subsidize tobacco?
I don't know all the details, but Fareed Zakaria wrote a really good book about all this stuff that you should read him. He's a smart guy.
What's it called?
I believe it's called The History of Freedom. And I read some excerpts of it. It was unbelievable.
There's no way to stop the lobby system at this point, though, is there? I mean, is there? No one's going to accept.
There absolutely is. In fact, I would argue that there's a huge movement to bring government on both sides of the aisle, to bring government into a manageable, to make it smaller. I mean, every time
but that's like the Ron Paul dogma, but nobody takes it seriously.
Actually, every time you hear a politician now who wants to get reelected, they all have to justify their spending. And let me tell you something: we are in dire. I mean, a lot of government programs are being cut. Now, the whole Tea Party movement, which is a formidable movement in some ways, and Michelle Bachmann and these guys, their platform is basically like, no matter what you say, the government's too big. Now, I have some issues with those guys, but I'm just saying that at the end of the day, they gained that much traction because they said, what the hell's going on here?
Michelle Bachmann is one of two things. Either she's the bringer of the apocalypse, or she's someone hired by the Democrats to completely discredit the Republicans, because she's at the helm right now. She's at the front of the movement.
I did a little research on her.
How about her gay husband?
I don't know anything about
Gay
him.
as fuck.
Really?